What up, what up? Back at it again with another Pop Punk Pod. This week, we're doing This Is a Stick Up, Don't Make It a Murder by Hit the Lights. This album was released in 2006. I only grew up listening to one of these songs. The track is called Speakers Blown. We'll get to it later, but I didn't ever really get into this album until like a year or two ago, and it is really, really good. I really, really love there's a lyrical theme that plays throughout the record, and it's really interesting. I'm unsure of the lyricist's name, but he has some interesting ways that he mixes love and his words and his relationships and stuff. The way he talks about everything that he went through with, relationships and love and whatever. He writes it in such a very cool way that I have never heard anybody write about it before. He brings these very dark elements, and he brings a lot of there's a lot of imagery in the lyrics that he writes, and we'll talk about kind of what that means later. But I really, really love the way this guy writes and the way he chose to portray his feelings and his emotions about relationships and whatnot, because he uses some interesting words and interesting themes. There's a lot of thematic elements throughout the record that kind of ties the whole thing together lyrically, and which I really, really love. So let's just jump in. First track, Call Out, You Are the Dishes. I don't really know what that means. As far as I can remember, I don't know if he ever says anything about dishes, or I don't know what that means, but let's get into it. This track starts off with a phone message, and then the vocals come in with this telephone quality. I've always loved when bands do that. I think Cartel has done that before. There's people have done it, and I really, really love when they do it. I feel like it's more of a earlier 2000s type of a thing to do, or at least 2000s to early 2010s, because we did have landlines back then, and it was, I don't know, more of a well-known idea. Yeah, so this song starts off with a phone message that says, "You have one new message, beep," and then the dude, I love that the dude, it's just his vocals. He goes, "Tell me again how we're easily forgettable, so formulaic and way too simple to be at all original, yeah, so we've heard it's time to keep your mouth shut while we showed you how to rock and roll." Also, I really love the way he presented that. The way there is a melody within it, but it's also kind of rappy. I don't know. I really like the way he presented it. And then it's cool at the end, he keeps this theme of this phone call. I mean, the song is called Call Out, so it makes sense, but he keeps the theme with this phone call at the very end with the last lyric saying "with or without you," and then the audio changes back to that telephone quality from the original, normal vocal style. It goes back to that telephone quality with that last line, and then the last thing we hear is this hanging up of a phone. And I think it's just so, I love the cohesiveness of that idea, beginning with the message and then him yelling and, speaking his mind, I guess, and then you can do this with or without you. Boom. Done. Hang up. I love concepts like that. It just makes songs more personal to the lyricist, but also just, they're fun. It just makes things fun and interesting, and it just brings a theme with the song being called Call Out. It just, I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. I just know that I like it. So, yeah, that's all I really had with this track. I really there are some lyrical elements that we'll get to later throughout that I really love. The dude has a lot of anatomical, what's the word? He writes a lot with body parts and organs, and just the way that he writes things. In this song, he says, "Modern day cutthroats prey on hearts of fools." So he has throat and heart, and throughout the rest of the record, he'll say things relating to the human body, and it's such an interesting thematic element to have in a record. especially when you're talking about love and relationships. The album is called This Is a Stick Up, Don't Make It a Murder, which at the end, the last track is really very cool in the way all of these songs relate to that theme of love and loss and having these feelings of anger and wanting to, I don't know, I take it pretty literally in a sense, but it's also, I don't really know what I'm trying to say anymore, but we're going to go to track 2. Track 2 is called These Backs Are Made for Stabbing. See, that's another thing, stabbing. I love the darkness of this album, both lyrically but also sonically. I call this a pop punk album, but it's a little chuggy and it's a little moody with the guitars, despite the high energy. And I really love the 2000 sound of this album. Again, it was released in 2006, so it was pretty early on. Because Hit the Lights came up with bands like Valencia and the Spill Canvas, and they all have like this distinct, this sound of pop punk back then is just, it's kind of uncomparable to the sound of these days, which I really, really love. I love early 2000s pop punk, and this album kind of meshes really well with that sound that kind of came up back then. And the chorus in this song, I really love. I'm a sucker for harmonies, and this song, actually throughout the whole record, there's a lot of vocal harmonies that he just kind of piles on with his vocals, and I really, really love it. In the chorus, there's this blending of sounds that's kind of really perfect with the slow vocals, or just kind of, he has these sustained, more held out notes rather than like having all these syllables. And the drums are in halftime, and then the guitars fill in all the spaces in the back with their riffs, and it's so good. But there's at 3:17, there's these vocal harmonies that build up to the last chorus, and it kind of is isolated, and those are really, really nice. He says, someday your games will catch up, but he has these harmonies over with the vocals, and it just like totally pulls up that energy into that last chorus that kind of just like lays it all out again. This song is really, really catchy, especially the chorus, and I love in the bridge, he says, so carve your apologies in your wrists, let the guilt drip from your fingertips. I'm on to you, we're on to you. Now wrap this excuse around your neck, and I'll kick the chair out from your legs. I'm on to you. We're on to you. And then he goes on, the chorus obviously talks about this girl being so obvious and predictable, and some days her games will catch up to her. The way that he chose to write those lyrics in the bridge is so awesome. Carve your apologies in your wrists. Slit your wrists. Let the guilt drip from your fingertips. He has these quite literal, these literal physical elements, the concrete, but he also has these abstract elements, such as apologies, guilt, excuse. Those are something they're not tangible things, but he mixes those elements with slitting your wrists and blood and, tying a noose around your neck, and he'll kick the chair out from your legs, And I love that intertwined of the abstract and that concrete, because it just makes it, that's what poetry is. Like that's what makes something poetic, is when you take those two elements and you mix them together. Or at least that's one way you can do it that makes it really powerful. And he does that throughout this record in a lot of his lyrics. He has these relationship elements, but he also has these physical, like, death and, like, killing sort of elements and stuff that relate to wanting to hurt yourself physically and whatnot. And I love the way he just beautifully mixes those two. I don't really have much more to say about it, but, like, if you just listen to it, I'm a sucker for lyrical content, and this guy writes really, really well, is basically what I'm trying to say. Track 3 is called 309. The vocals in this track, I'm a sucker for vocals, harmonies, lyrics, anything that has to do with the voice. This song portrays really well a lot of the things that I love about the human voice. The vocals are just all around really well presented and kind of the center of attention with this song. Again, I pick out vocals pretty easily. That's like what I hear kind of first. So maybe that's just my opinion in that the vocals are pretty standout, but I guess we'll just go right to the end, because that's kind of the main vocal part that one stands out, but that I also want to talk about. The last chorus, it repeats a few times, but there's a lot of not only vocal harmonies, but there's also this layering of vocal parts of just different words, different phrases and things that are being said, and they kind of all stack up on top of each other. The end, there's a fade out of all the instruments, so it's just this isolated vocals with the harmonies and the layering, and it sounds so freaking cool. I am a sucker for not only a cappella fade outs, like ending a song with just the vocals, but the amount of things that are going on in this last chorus is just the way, I don't know, bro, the way that they did it was just, it sounds really, really nice. And I also really love kind of how savage he is when he's like, let go of all that we've had. You know, we've been down this road before. Pack your bags, dry your eyes. It's a long walk from my house to 309. Like, just get out, girl. Like, leave. We're done. Type of a thing, you know? I really love that, but also just the way that they presented the vocals at the end. You're just gonna have to listen to it because it sounds really cool. I really love it. I also really like going back to kind of the anatomical references that are made or lyrically throughout this record. He says, "It's no skin off my back or bones." He could have said that in a different way. Like, he could have said that in such a different way, but he chose to say it like that, and it just totally combines with all the other bodily elements that are going on lyrically in this record, and I really like that he chose to say it that way. Like, it's no skin off my back or bones. It's not affecting me, whatever, type of a thing. If you want to go home, then just say so. Like, I like that. And he just kind of, I like just how straight up he is in his lyrics. He's just like, cry all you like, kid. It's no secret you faked it. It's no skin off my back or bones. If you want to go home, then just say so. Like, let go of all that we've had. We've been down this road. Pack your bags, dry your eyes. It's a long walk from my house to 309. Like, he gives zero care in the world of her feelings, and is just kind of just like, go. Like, I don't even care about you anymore, type of a thing. And I love the way that he said all of his feelings. And he does not hold back in his portrayal of feelings throughout this record. I mean, he says some savage things about not about women, but just like in the relationships that he is talking about. And he talks about these girls or whatever he's talking about, and he just totally lets him have it, and he says what he feels, and he writes it in a way that's so dark and angsty, but also super deep and poetic. And I'll kind of talk about that later. There's a different song that I think is the last track that is just very interesting in the way that he writes his feelings. But anyway, yeah, that was 309. That track is really very vocally powerful. It's really good. Track 4 is called Body Bag, and this is the most savage song, I think, just aside from the last track, that I think I have ever heard. Like, and I remember for a while I didn't really listen to the message of this song because it was kind of disguised in this catchy, like with these catchy hooks and the energy of the song, that I didn't think about what it was really saying or what he was kind of talking about. But once I finally did, I was like, yo, whoa, that is deep, for one, but also so, I mean, sometimes that's how people feel, like, with relationships or just with people in general. Like, sometimes you just want to kill someone. And that's kind of, in a way, what he's talking about here. And just the amount of hate and angst in this song is just, it's immaculate. I mean, it's just, wow. I'll just say it like this. He starts out, "You're gonna need a body bag. I'll break bones you didn't know you had. When I'm done, there will be nothing left of you for your friends to hold on to when they find you cold and blue tonight face down in a parking lot." Like, whoa. That's so dark. And he's literally talking about killing someone. Like, he's gonna break your bones, there's gonna be nothing left of you, and they're gonna find you cold and blue face down in a parking lot. Like, I mean, that's really hateful. And I don't even know if I've ever felt that way about somebody so much that I would want to kill them like that. But, and I'm sure that's like not what that may be what he's talking about specific, like actually. But I mean, I feel like there could be elements of other there's probably non-literal ways that you could take this song. And I'm sure there's other things to take from it. But yeah, that's just so aggressive. But the way that they presented it in this pop punk song is so catchy, and it's so, like, you almost, I didn't even know that that's what he was talking about for the longest time until I actually listened to the words, and I was like, whoa, wait a second, that's bad. But it's so good. And the gang vocals at 2:14, it comes in, he's just saying, did you think you had nothing to lose? Well, you do, so you think you're walking home? And then the gang vocals come in and say, this time I'm waiting here for you, you've got nowhere to hide. And I love that he made, they're called gang vocals, meaning just a lot of people singing at once. Kind of like, I kind of relate it to gang vocals are in the song Gives You Hell by the All American Rejects. When they go, when you see my face, hope it gives you hell, hope it gives you hell. And it's just like all those people kind of in the background, like everybody's, like there's a lot of these voices. That's what a gang vocal is, when there's just a lot of voices. And they do that in this song when he says, this time I'm waiting here for you, you've got nowhere to hide. And I like that he put that element in there, and it wasn't just him, despite him saying, I'm waiting here for you, but there's almost like this, like he's got his friends to back him up type of a thing. Like he's got these people here that are going to help him out to, like, you know, beat you up and make you pay type of a thing. And I really like that element. I don't know if that was like intentional in that way, but that's how I took it. And I think it's really just kind of brings more, I don't know, more of like a friend vibe to it. Like this guy, he's not alone in his feelings, and he's, you know, his buddies are right there with him, gonna stick up for him, and just kind of, you know, help beat up this person, you know, and leave him in a parking lot. Especially, really like the second verse. He says, what do you do when you're all alone and you have nowhere to run to? I swear I'll find you. And this is what I'll do. I'll take it slow, just to let you know that we're not playing. You're not walking home. Yikes. Oh man. Again, he does not hold back in his feelings. And I love that. I love that he just kind of states things as it is and exactly how he feels. And he doesn't sugarcoat anything. Like this song is it's so aggressive in what he's saying. And I love it. It's so good because people don't typically write like that. You know, people tend to write in very non-literal ways, of course, but also they kind of beat around the bush in ways. But this guy really just writes it as it is. He's like, I'm going to find you. I'm going to take it slow. Like, it's not going to be a fast death. Like, you're not going to walk home and survive this. Like, it's crazy. I love it. I really love this song. It's really catchy. It's a nice, I have it on my mad playlist when I'm just like angry, and I'll just listen to this song, and it's so good. It's so good. Despite like the high energy and like it's really catchy, the lyrics are what make it so aggressive, and I love it. I love that contrast. Next track 5, is called Talk Us Down. Again, I'm just gonna keep with the theme of lyrics. This album is very lyrically heavy for me and vocally so yeah, this song, Talk Us Down, I interpret the lyrics kind of in two ways. And I'm not sure if I'm like correct on it at all. Like it's just the way that I think about it. I take it as he's talking about like literally dying and jumping off of a building, but he's also kind of talking about being on the road touring in the way that he says things. So like the first line, he says, so let's find the tallest building and scream at the streets below as you turn your head to me and say they're not worth our spit anyway. Talk us down from this ledge as we inch even closer to our death. We're showing off our talents, we're good at losing balance. And I kind of take that talents line as we're showing off our talents. Like they're going out on the road and they're playing music. That's their talent. But he says we're good at losing balance while talking about being on the tallest building. And then he goes on after that, he says, as we make the pavement our home. Quite literally, you could take that literally and say, oh, he's on a tall building, he's losing his balance, and he's making the pavement his home. like, done. He's dead, you know? Letting go of all that we've known. That's kind of a way to say I'm dead and I, no longer have memory and life. So yeah, again, you can take that really literally. He's talking about kind of suicide in a way. I mean, the song is called Talk Us Down. But there's the touring element of being in a band, being on the road. He says, the cities never sleep when we're gone. The streets call out our name. The lights aren't the same for so long, and it's wrong to keep them waiting. And he says, we'll say our goodbyes, travel through the night, grab the closest wheel and drive. That, to me, is a very direct touring metaphor, I guess, in that, we'll say our goodbyes to our friends and family, and we're going to go travel through the night, grab this wheel, and we're just going to go. We're just going to go, and we're going to tour, and we're going to play music, and that's what we're doing. As we make the pavement our home. Making the road, that's what their home is. They don't have a home. They don't, when you're on tour, you're in either a van or a bus or, a car, whatever you're driving in, and that's your home, is that vehicle in the road. Yeah, I don't know. That's really all my thoughts of this one. I really like that double meaning, I guess, in the talking about suicide, but also talking about living out their dream and playing music in a band and stuff. So, yeah.